In 1956, Volvo unveiled a machine that would quietly reshape the entire philosophy of automotive engineering. This was the Volvo Amazon, a car forged from Swedish steel and refined integrity. It didn't arrive with the flashy chrome of Detroit or the fragile elegance of post-war Europe. Instead, it offered a new kind of luxury, the luxury of trust. From its unbreakable B18 engine to a life-saving safety patent that Volvo famously gave away for free, this is the story of the Iron Swede. A car built to be driven like you hate it, yet loved forever. The visual identity of the Amazon was shaped by a young and ambitious designer named Jan Wilsgaard. At just 26 years old, he was given an enormous responsibility: to replace the aging PV444 and define Volvo's future design language. Instead of following the European design trends of the time, which were often rounded, soft, and heavily ornamental, Wilsgaard looked elsewhere for inspiration. His attention turned toward American automotive design, particularly the pontoon styling seen in Kaiser Frazer vehicles. These cars featured integrated fenders and smooth-flowing waistlines that gave them a sense of modernity and presence. Wilsgaard absorbed these influences, but did not simply copy them. Instead, he refined them through a distinctly Scandinavian lens, stripping away excess and focusing on clarity, proportion, and purpose. The result was a clean, three-box silhouette that carried subtle curves, balanced proportions, and a distinctive split grille that would later become a Volvo hallmark. The Amazon did not scream for attention, it commanded it through quiet confidence. It looked solid, dependable, and slightly ahead of its time, as if it belonged equally in the past and the future. When the car was first revealed, it immediately captured attention across Europe. It looked more expensive than it was, more refined than expected from a Swedish manufacturer still building its global identity. It had a presence that felt both modern and enduring, a rare combination in the automotive world of the 1950s. However, just as Volvo prepared to introduce the Amazon to global markets, an unexpected legal issue threatened its identity. The name Amazon had been chosen deliberately to evoke strength, independence, and mythological power inspired by ancient Greek warrior women. But in a twist of corporate timing, the name had already been registered in Germany by a motorcycle manufacturer. What followed was a quiet but tense legal dispute that forced Volvo into compromise. The company was allowed to retain the Amazon name within Scandinavia, but for export markets such as the United Kingdom and the United States, the car would be officially designated as the Volvo 121 or 122S. Despite this, the public quickly rejected the numerical identity. The emotional and symbolic weight of the name Amazon was far stronger than any badge or designation, and over time it became the name the world remembered, regardless of what was written on official documents. Beyond its design and identity, the Amazon was fundamentally engineered for survival. Sweden's climate is unforgiving, with harsh winters, heavy snow, and road salt that destroys ordinary cars in a matter of years. Volvo's engineers understood this deeply and built the Amazon accordingly. Thick-gauge steel formed the structure, while advanced anti-corrosion treatments and early underbody protection systems were applied long before such practices became industry standard. In fact, the Amazon was among the first mass-produced cars to undergo a full phosphate anti-rust bath before painting, a process designed to significantly extend its structural lifespan. At a time when many vehicles began to rust and deteriorate within 5 years, the Amazon was designed with a far more ambitious goal: to remain functional and reliable for 20 years or more. For owners in the 1960s, purchasing an Amazon was not a short-term decision. It was an investment in long-term reliability and mechanical trust. At the heart of this machine lay Volvo's most enduring engineering achievement, the B-Series engines, particularly the B16, B18, and later B20. These were not exotic or high-performance engines in the traditional sense. They were simple four-cylinder overhead valve units, designed with practicality and durability as their primary objectives. However, simplicity did not mean compromise. In fact, these engines were over-engineered to a remarkable degree. The most famous among them, the B18 introduced in 1961, featured 5 main bearings, a design choice that provided exceptional balance, smoothness, and structural strength. At a time when many engines of similar size used only 3 bearings, Volvo's decision was conservative but deeply intentional. It resulted in an engine that could operate under sustained stress for long periods without failure, earning a reputation for near indestructibility. Stories of B18-powered vehicles exceeding hundreds of thousands of miles without major rebuilds became common, and in some extreme cases, engines crossed the million-mile mark with proper maintenance. This level of durability was not accidental. It was the result of a design philosophy rooted in longevity rather than planned obsolescence. This engineering philosophy extended into Volvo's marketing as well. One of the most famous campaigns of the era boldly stated, "Drive it like you hate it." It was more than advertising, it was a statement of confidence. Volvo was challenging drivers to push the car beyond careful use, to test its limits, and to trust that it would still perform reliably. In a period when most vehicles required frequent maintenance and gentle handling, the Amazon stood apart as something almost indestructible. It felt less like a fragile consumer product and more like a piece of industrial machinery adapted for everyday life. For many owners, particularly those who valued practicality over prestige, this level of dependability created an emotional bond that lasted decades. However, Volvo's impact extended far beyond durability and engineering. In the late 1950s, automotive safety was still in its infancy. Cars were built with hard metal dashboards, rigid steering columns, and minimal consideration for passenger protection. In the event of a collision, survival was uncertain. Recognizing this, Volvo made a decision that would alter automotive history forever. The company hired Nils Bohlin, an aerospace engineer who had previously worked on ejector seats for Saab fighter jets. Bohlin understood the physics of human impact better than most automotive engineers of his time. He realized that the human body needed controlled restraint during sudden deceleration, not just basic confinement. His solution was the 3-point seatbelt, a simple yet revolutionary V-shaped design that secured both the upper and lower body, distributing force more safely across the torso and pelvis. In 1959, the Volvo Amazon became the first production car in the world to feature this seatbelt as standard equipment. But the most extraordinary decision came next. Volvo recognized the life-saving potential of the invention and chose not to restrict it through patents or licensing fees. Instead, the company made the design freely available to all manufacturers worldwide. This act of corporate generosity meant that competitors such as Ford, General Motors, and British Leyland could adopt the technology without cost. It was a rare moment in industrial history where human safety was placed above commercial advantage, and its impact continues to this day. It is estimated that Nils Bohlin's seatbelt design has saved over 1 million lives globally, a legacy that began with the humble Volvo Amazon. The car's commitment to safety did not end there. It also introduced padded dashboards, collapsing steering columns, and breakaway mirrors, all early examples of what would later be known as passive safety systems. These innovations transformed the perception of automobiles from dangerous machines into protective environments. For families, this shift was profound. The car was no longer just a means of transport, it became a space of trust, where safety was built into the structure itself. Despite its calm and practical appearance, the Amazon also had a surprising competitive edge. Volvo entered the world of rally racing to demonstrate that durability did not come at the expense of performance. The results were unexpected and impressive. The Amazon 122S quickly earned a reputation as a giant killer, competing successfully in some of the most demanding motorsport events in the world. Drivers such as Tom Trana and Carl-Magnus Skogh pushed the car to victory in events like the Acropolis Rally and Safari Rally, proving that a well-built family car could also perform under extreme conditions. In 1963, Volvo secured the European Rally Championship, effectively dismantling the perception that the brand was slow or uncompetitive. This performance identity reached its peak in 1967 with the introduction of the 123 GT. This model combined the Amazon's robust body with a high-performance version of the B18 engine, twin carburetors, and a more aggressive setup. It featured upgrades such as a tachometer, fog lights, and an overdrive gearbox that allowed for relaxed high-speed cruising. With only a small number ever produced, the 123 GT became one of the most desirable variants in the Amazon lineup, representing the perfect blend of reliability and performance. By 1970, production of the Amazon came to an end after more than 660,000 units had been built. Its legacy, however, did not end there. It laid the foundation for Volvo's future identity and directly influenced the development of later models such as the 140 and 240 series. More importantly, it established a philosophy that would define the brand for decades. Cars should not only be functional and durable, but also fundamentally safe. Today, the Volvo Amazon remains a symbol of honest engineering. Many examples are still driven regularly, a testament to its original design philosophy. It is remembered not for luxury or speed, but for something far more enduring: trust. Because in the end, the Amazon was never just about transportation. It was about building something that would protect the people who depended on it, generation after generation. And perhaps that is its greatest legacy. It wasn't just built to last, it was built to protect.